Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo and today's video is a special topic I have been wanting to feature for a while on my channel. Today is Star Trek Day, and so we're going to talk about how Lucille Ball helped save Star Trek the original series. So live long and prosper. In April 1964, Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry pitched the idea of a new science fiction series, Star Trek, to Desilu Productions. At the time, Desilu Productions was one of the largest production companies in the business, so it was only fitting for Roddenberry to try to get his show picked up by the studio. After divorcing Desi Arnaz in 1960, Lucille Ball bought out his share of the studio in 1962, making her the most powerful voice and woman in television. While pitching the show, Roddenberry met with Herbert F. Solow, Desilu's director of production. Solow was interested and signed a 3-year program development contract with Roddenberry. Lucy was very unfamiliar with the idea and nature of the project. She actually thought the show was going to be about a group of traveling USO performers during World War II. So she was completely off with her idea of what this show was going to be like. Lucy learned a lot from watching Desi Arnaz. He had been called crazy for his ideas by many industry insiders, but he always proved the critics wrong. Lucy would do this as well. At the time, Desilu was looking for its next big hit following the end of The Untouchables in 1963. Lucy was very instrumental in getting the pilot of Star Trek produced, titled The Cage. She overruled her board of directors to fund the pilot. She saw the potential in it. When Desilu proposed the pilot to CBS, the network refused to produce the show. The show was already too similar to another science fiction show in development, Lost in Space. So after this rejection, Solow and Roddenberry pitched the idea to NBC. It was a very foreign, alien idea to the network at first, but NBC's head of West Coast programming department, Grant Tinker, commissioned the project. You might be familiar with the name Grant Tinker. He was married to Mary Tyler Moore at the time, and together they created MTM Enterprises and the Mary Tyler Moore Show and many other shows. And so he also is important to highlight by looking at the history of Star Trek, that Grant Tinker really helped get in with NBC. After watching the pilot, NBC was ready to reject the idea again, though. But Lucy stepped in. She agreed to help finance a second pilot episode, which introduced William Shatner as Captain Kirk. Her board of directors at Desilu didn't want her to do this. They warned her against doing this. But Lucy fought for the second pilot. She stood by the show. And the second pilot proved to be satisfactory to NBC. It was much better than the first pilot, and Star Trek was selected for the upcoming television schedule in 1966. Star Trek premiered on September 8th, 1966, and the rest is history. As we know, Star Trek is a huge enterprise. Pun intended. Star Trek is huge. There have been many spin-off shows and movies, and just there's so many fans of Star Trek, Trekkies out there today, and it's just wonderful. And I enjoy learning the history and how Lucille Ball played a very instrumental role in the development of Star Trek and making sure that those pilots were financially produced. And I love that. It seems unusual to think about Lucille Ball in connection with Star Trek. They are like polar opposites of each other. Lucille Ball was a comedian and Star Trek is a science fiction saga. So they don't seem to go together, but she saw the potential in it. And so we really have to consider Lucille Ball in the history of Star Trek. A studio accountant of Desilu, Edwin Ed Hawley, said, "If it were not for Lucy, there would be no Star Trek today." if Lucy didn't believe in the show and support it financially, Star Trek would have ended with that first pilot. It would have stopped. CBS, NBC, all the networks would have rejected it, but Lucy saw the potential in it. And so, to put it simply, Lucy dared to boldly go where no man or woman had gone before. And so I just love that. And so I hope that you enjoyed learning a little more about Lucille Ball's involvement in the history of Star Trek and how Lucy really saved the show. She made sure that the show was picked up, that it was financially supported, and so those pilots could be produced. She made sure that the networks gave it a chance. And I really admire how she also overstepped her board of directors. She didn't let them tell her what to do. She did her own thing, and I really admire her for that. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you learned, what you think of Star Trek and Lucy's involvement in it. Are you a Star Trek fan? I enjoy the original series as well as the Next Generation. I enjoyed those too. So let me know. I'd be happy to read your comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. And remember to always laugh often.